It's good to see you.
Yes, I know. It's been forever. Well, I
So,
did tell you I saw you at
oh
when you
yeah,
were on what street is that?
that was out by the airport,
By
whatever
the
street that is.
airport, and it was
Right.
just so random. I was like, "Wait, hey, I know him," and I tried to do like a U-turn, and the people was upset. So
Right. Now I used you the other day as an example that situation. I'm like, you have to be careful, like wherever you are, like make sure you never get caught out of pocket. Make sure you stay consistent. This is why integrity is so important. I was like, you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's just gonna see you, like what you're
right.
doing.
That was so random. I was taking my mother-in-law to the airport. It was like in the middle of the day, random day. It wasn't a holiday or anything. I was like, wait, I know him.
Right. Nah,
Crazy.
it's dope. And I was out there shooting something for the city. They had done like an artwork installation there or whatever. Cause you were honking the
Okay.
horn and everything. I was like, what the heck is going on? I thought it was about to be an accident or something.
Right. And like I said, I tried to like do a U-turn and the people were honking at me. I was like, you know what? I'ma just let him know I see him later.
Yeah, no. Matter of fact, this is a perfect segue to just roll straight into it.
Okay.
Because it's funny how life has always, since we met, life has put us like crossing paths all the time, like out of nowhere.
Right.
And I regularly talk about you because you have been like so incredibly important career wise to me. It's like wild that like Jasmine came in out of nowhere. We were working at, over at Hermes together. And it's
Mhm.
like the way things fell in line, like some of the career relationships we have today is largely in part to you setting that up. Like, we had to go in there and do legwork, but if it wasn't for Jasmine reaching out and saying, go talk to these guys, I
Mhm.
don't know that door would have opened the way it did. And I'm like super appreciative of you, and personally and business wise, all the stuff that, like, since you've been involved in my life, it's been nothing but great stuff. And it's like you've been cool as heck and down to earth. It's like it's never been like I owe Jasmine nothing. It's just been like that's just what Jasmine does. I'm looking out. It makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
So I appreciate you 100%. I'm glad that we had a chance to talk, and we maintained the relationship and just to check in on each other every now and then. So how you been? You doing business stuff? What's going on?
Yes, well, thank you for that. I sometimes laugh because I tend to give people unsolicited advice sometimes and unsolicited just opinions, but I do it genuinely. Like I do it because I want to see everybody win. So if there's an opportunity for anybody that I know, I'm putting you on first. Like that's just how I move. So like once the opportunity came, I was like, wait, hey, I know some guys that do videography. I know some guys that do photography. Like I know if I know, and like I told you before when we talked, I can vouch for you because of the professionalism. And I'm going to continue to say that again and again. Like I knew if I said, hey, reach out to him, you're going to be on point. You're not going to embarrass me. You're not going to be late. You're not going to give them, half part work. So, I'm happy that I was able to help with that because yeah, I see you guys everywhere now. I was like, look at them, they're doing so good, and that's super exciting because a lot of times all we need is just the opportunity, right? And then once you get in the door, then you can continue to climb and do what you need to do. But yeah, perfect segue to what I'm doing now, which is always a lot of stuff at the same time. And sometimes when I say it out loud, I'm like, well, how am I doing all these things? But anyway,
Right.
so the last time we spoke, I was at Cativa CBD. Um, Through the issues with the pandemic and them shifting gears, I stepped away from that position. And through the time when I was not with them, I started to think about where I thought I could be most helpful. And I realized, kind of back to your point, I like to put people in positions to win. So I said, okay, well, how can I do that? So that's how I came up with brand one-on-one.
Okay.
And pretty much what that means to me, the title or the name means that I would like to be able to provide people with what I would consider like a one-on-one kind of service, meaning even if I were to have 50 clients, I want you to feel like you're the only one, right? So like
Right.
a one-on-one kind of experience. And I want to do it in a way that is affordable for small businesses.
Okay.
So I say that to say, another segue. I work for an agency now. I work for Rocket Ship. It is a digital marketing firm based out of Seattle, Washington. Love it. Rocket ship is amazing. However, due to the fact that rocket ship has all of these amazing staff members such as myself with tons of experience and knowledge, etc., rocket ship may not necessarily be the best path for a small business owner who's just starting out.
Okay.
You just may not have the resources to be able to invest at that level yet. So brand one-on-one came from a place of being able to say, well, okay, maybe you don't have the largest advertising budget or you don't have the largest marketing budget, but what are some things you can do to either launch or sustain your business that are low cost? And what I find is a lot of times people miss opportunities that are relatively either free or low cost. And something like customer service, like I'm huge on customer service and customer retention because it's much cheaper to retain a customer than it is to acquire a customer. And a lot of businesses that provide services or even products, they miss out on that. Just something as simple as retention. If someone purchases something from you, they should now be on your radar for the next time that you launch another product or you introduce something. Or if you own a restaurant, the person that visits your restaurant, you should now be nurturing that relationship. So, whenever they think about coming out to eat, they think about your restaurant. Or when they think about referring someone, when, let's just say, for instance, someone says, where should I eat? They should be thinking about your restaurant. You know what I mean? And those are like good feelings for not necessarily, let me back up. When I say good feelings, I say that if someone has a good feeling about your business, they'll refer it.
Right.
Referrals are free. Not
Right.
only are referrals free, they are literally your best form of advertising.
Right.
Someone is going to trust someone that has used your service or used your product and liked it versus any advertisement or anything that they see. So all of these things kind of just go into you not needing to have a huge marketing budget in order to be successful in business. Now, I'm not going to say it doesn't cost any money because I kind of want to also break that piece of misinformation that's out there that, oh, you can launch for free and, you don't need any money. You don't need any money. You don't need any money. I think that that's incorrect. I do think there are some funds that are necessary. Like you should have an advertising budget. Should it be the highest advertising budget if you're just starting out? No, but boost a Facebook post for like $50 a week. It goes a long way,
Exactly.
so I do think so that's the second part of it. Since we spoke, I don't know. I don't know, but I got my master's finally. I know we
Okay.
have been
Cool.
talking about it
That's
when we
dope.
were at Hermes. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I got my MBA with a concentration in marketing. So, I've learned a lot more about marketing than I knew even, 3 or 4 years ago. So even wanting to take some of that knowledge and now experience being at this agency and learning so much and just helping people. Like it all boils down to helping people. And
Right.
that's what I'm passionate about. So, they always say, go after what you would do for free.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I would say for the most part, I mean, I I actually have one client with Brand 101 right now who is actually Johnny Garcia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
What?
my one actual client right now. I'm heading up their marketing efforts with the data center that he's building in
For
Portsmouth
real?
and Virginia Beach.
That's
So
great.
um I yeah, so that's exactly where the
Wow.
company is right now with my one official client, but
Okay.
unofficially I've just been helping out people that I'm either friends with or family that have businesses that need help. Yeah, I've just been doing that so far.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting you talk about reaching out to people because depending on the budgets, right? You say like certain companies are going to need that large scale approach, and certain companies are going to need, something a little more direct, right? And what we tell people on the video side, and sometimes it might sound a little like if we don't want to work with a person, but when we start educating people on like, listen, if you don't have a budget, there are things you need to be doing just with your phone. Like you
Hmm.
have a camera in your pocket. There's different stages of business because we come from the background of having no business at all, starting it from zero, ourselves learning on the job, right? And we understand something very clearly when we went into the business, and especially now 4 years of doing business, is when you have no budget, you are the currency. you have to go in there and put the sweat equity in, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times what you run into, unfortunately, is sometimes small businesses might get in a situation where they think like, well, I'm a small business, so you should hook me up. And it's like, nah, you should hook yourself up. What you should do is, I think there's a little bit of ego there. Sometimes people don't want to be seen doing it on their phone. They want the full production. They want the full marketing team. And it's like, no, understand that where you are today, you're on a sweat equity level. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Embrace the process, get that camera out on your phone and start doing your own little videos real quick. Do some selfie videos, do some updates on your business, do some vlog style stuff until you get to a point where you could bring somebody in. Um,
Right.
and that's the thing. It's like I think on the video production side, we're kind of gearing up to get into the education side of things, where it's like, listen, we want to be of value and just show you that this is what you need to be doing on your own, and when you're ready, we're
Right.
here for you. And
Right.
we just want to be those information providers and like the subject matter experts. So it's like, now when you have the budget, you know who to go to. The person that's been feeding you the game for free, that's who you go to now to
Exactly.
go get the larger scale stuff. So I mean, what are some of the things you're telling people on a lower level, like when they're going into marketing for the first time? I mean, of course, leveraging social media, right? Like Facebook and all that stuff. Like, what should people be doing on the beginning where it's like, I don't have the budget even for Jasmine? What should I be doing on my own?
Right. So I'll take an example. Somebody reached out to me yesterday and they're promoting an event. And the person asked, like, okay, I need help. Where should I start? So, I glance at the event, and one of the things that I do is I tell people you need to remove friction points. And friction points are anything that will cause someone to not convert,
Right.
right? Whatever that
Right.
conversion is, whatever you're looking for, whether it's a sale or for them to subscribe to something, whatever it is. So, one of the things I saw in the Instagram bio is the link isn't clickable for the tickets, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
friction point
Yep.
because you're asking me to do way too much. I'm not gonna copy and paste out the Instagram
Yep.
bio to
Yep.
go put it somewhere else. Linktree is free. I think of this one called Flow, Later, Milkshake, all those types of things, so that you can put a link that will link people to the tickets, to the website, whatever it is that you have. Back to that Instagram bio. A bit of research last week for my did I freeze?
No, you're good. Keep going. It froze for a second, but then I heard you. Back to the
Oh,
Instagram
okay.
bio.
Okay. Yeah. So I did a little bit of research last week, and I realized that the way that we use that we used to use, let me not say that we used to use Google, but remember when you wanted to like learn about something, you would go immediately to Google. Well, it's
Right.
shifting somewhat to now you're going to the social media page of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So people have to keep that in mind to say, okay, let me make sure my page or my bio is optimized, right? So
Right.
that people can either locate me. You would not believe how many businesses that are brick and mortar that I look at their Instagram page and there's no location.
Right.
That's insane to me. That's a free feature. Put your location so I know where to find you. And like you said with ego, it's almost like you expect that people are going to want what you have, so they're going to do all this extra legwork to get to it, and that's way too much ego. You have to make it as simple as possible for people to do what, like I said, whatever it is you want them to do. Going back to what I just said about Google searches, another free tool that a lot of businesses don't use is Google My Business, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
free for you to put your business on Google so that when someone puts in the business name, you pop up on Google. So, just simple little things I think that remove those friction points are where, I tell people to start. I also find that now, because I'm more educated, I'm able to even pass along more education about people understanding that when you look at the different pieces of marketing, to not solely focus just on digital marketing, and then to go even granular and not to just focus on social media. Like, you hear everybody thinking digital marketing is just social media, and that's not true. You should still have a website. Your
Yeah.
website should still, you can do a free Wix site and do it yourself, but just make sure you have all the basic information on there. People know how to find you, how to contact you. Boom, you're there. When If you want to be, like you said, a subject matter expert, make sure you're writing some blogs. Um, I was talking to someone yesterday and explaining to them, because they said they don't have time to write blogs, and they're not a writer, etc. I said, okay, well, You can go to the Notes app on your phone and you can record, and then it'll
Mm-hmm.
write it for you. I think Google has another feature like that, like Google Typing or Google Type My Voice or something.
Right.
Or you can get a video transcribed, so you can like record a video, like maybe even something like this. Like you could take this and get it transcribed and take bits and pieces out of it for content for like your website or your blog or your social media. You know, that's free. So again, just utilizing things that are super low cost that really help. And then with the blogs, that helps out with your SEO, search engine optimization, you
Mm-hmm.
coming up in a search when someone is looking for something. That's really, really important. And I realized that was important working at the agency. That, if you want to be on the first page of Google, you got to do some work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, like some of the blogs come in and the content marketing. Um, and then you have your other like paid forms of things like your pay per click and your paid search and a few other things. But so then you got your digital marketing, right? And then you have your, what I still consider like, oh, one more piece of the digital marketing is your email list. Email list is super important. And I say that because remember when Instagram went down a couple of months ago, people lost their minds. When
Mm-hmm.
Instagram and Facebook went down, people were just like, OMG, what am I going to do? My whole business lives here. And it's like, wait a minute, use this as an opportunity to remember that you should have another way to contact your customers, and they should have another way to contact you, which is via your website or email or whatever.
Right.
But here we go. It's February. So I'm going to start my normal pitch where I'm starting to tell people that have, especially product based businesses, vending opportunities are starting to pop up. So, your local town or city usually has some vending opportunities. Maybe if you want to go on a more regional scale. And then there are some of them, they have pretty low barriers to entry because they're not that expensive. I mean, some of them are like $150. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you get to be on their mailing list. It's helping with your SEO because if they put out an advertisement and your business name is there, it'll show up, and it just helps for brand awareness and brand recognition.
Right.
So
No, and it's
definitely a lot of things.
it's important because and this is why it's good to come from an education perspective because I think not to speak for you but for me and you might have some parallels on how you feel about it. I think my heart is really to still to help people a lot, and what I'm doing I really would do for free. And
Hmm.
I find myself constantly like motivating people and telling people for two reasons. I want to see people succeed, and at the same time I'm kind of pumping myself up. I'm saying these things out loud because it's like I need to remind myself it's not as hard as people might think.
Hmm.
There's that sweat equity element to it where you just got to drill down and do it. And it's weird because sometimes it's hard to navigate from a business owner perspective. It's hard to navigate when I can push someone to, all right, you got to understand, you got to start paying now. And now you're at that point where you're asking for too much, right? Like there's a certain amount we're willing to do for free, education wise, but at some point you do have to assign a budget to it. They have to understand that. And it's weird because I think in the very beginning stages of business, a lot of mistakes I see people doing is they come out the gate way too low, and then
Hmm.
that becomes the kind of the foundation for a conversation of how everybody else around you should keep their prices low because you kind of went into market way too low, and you
Hmm.
feel like you can't afford to scale. But I tell people all the time, you need to price yourself to the point of the business you want to be at. Like
Right.
we shouldn't be trying to be the lowest cost every single time. You and I worked at a place
Right.
where I actually learned that from them. You shouldn't always try to win the business. Just let's go with the cheapest product ever. Nah, go with the more
Hmm.
efficient product. Go with, yeah, my stuff costs a little more, but it's cost more because you get more out of it in the long run.
Right.
Your business is going to grow more using my service. And that's why it's important. And I think that's why I started this whole podcast thing back up. We did it, last year, and you were on there. And I started it up again because I'm like, no, the conversation needs to keep happening. There's still people building businesses, especially now when COVID hit. A lot of people with all this extra free time realize I might as well just pursue my passion. I might as well. And you hear people all the time going, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be a business owner. With all that free time, it's like you should have capitalized on it. And a lot of people are still
Hmm.
working remote. And I tell people, if you're working remote and you're not chasing your dream right now, in a previous episode we said it, you don't deserve your dream. Then my friend said it. Now's the opportunity to stop complaining,
Hmm.
because there's always been the excuse of, well, I got to do the 9 to 5, and when am I supposed to chase my dreams? Because I got to come home, feed the kids, do homework, go
Hmm.
to sleep. It's like, well, if you're working remote, like a lot of people are, if you got that blessing to do that, then manage your time better. sacrifice some time in the evening or whatever you got to do, but now's the time. Because I get it, as parents, that opportunity is real rough. It's hard to do that, working the 9 to 5 thing. And I constantly run into people that's like, well, when I was a kid, I had way more time. If I was 20 years old with no kids, I'd be able to do this. It's like, I get it, but you can do it right now. It's going to be harder,
Right.
but you could do it.
Hmm.
You're still drawing breath. You still have the opportunity. It's
Hmm.
it's even harder for other people. You might have three. I
Right.
got 3 kids. There's other people that got 4 and 5, and they're making it work.
Right.
But
Right.
nobody ever achieves success complaining their way into it. It's like,
Right. Or
it,
excuses rather.
right, yeah, like accept the reality you're in, and just understand that this is where I have to be. This is the situation I'm in, and I have to succeed through it. That's it. It's
Right.
not I can't
Right.
succeed because of this. No, I have to succeed right
Hmm.
through this and keep moving. Um,
Right.
so it's dope. It's funny that you came back full circle to Johnny and all that, doing that stuff,
I knew
and
you.
that's hilarious to me. But that's also important as to why. So whenever we're worried in business about necessarily a relationship ending for whatever reason, I've always been of the mindset of you have to maintain your integrity. Customer service is super important. And I talk with Matt, Matt, I'm like, these are the things that, these are the moments where our reputation is going to be incredibly important because customers are
Right.
going to leave. They're going to try other people. They might get a quote and
Right.
somebody's going to be cheaper. What you want to
Hmm.
do is keep that door open to where if it doesn't work out with the other person, they end up missing you.
They come back. Hmm.
And it's like, maybe I do pay a couple dollars more, but you know what? I had a good thing. I knew what I was getting. It was consistent. And that's what we've built Tsunami on, was just that high level customer service, treating people like regular people. We're not going in there, being the whole suits and talking down on people and telling them what you need because I know more than you. It's always been the
Hmm.
attitude of, what are you trying to accomplish? How can we work together creatively? Let's get all the feedback together and move forward. Um, and quick turnaround too. We find a lot of
Yeah.
times, like,
Yeah. The fact that what you all did for me every single time was you made my urgency your urgency, and it wasn't
mhm,
your fault. It was
mhm,
my, primarily my fault, but that was one of the things that I loved, is that I'm like, this is a fire, this is an emergency, and you all treated it such a like it was an emergency for you as well. I
right.
really appreciated that.
And that's actually still going on too, but it's part of the game. I mean, we understand. I'm constantly having to, remind myself and talk about it, where it's like, you got to remember that we're passionate about videography. That doesn't mean everybody else is passionate about videography. And I'm constantly
Right.
saying, remember, people are clocking in at a desk job, and they got a bunch of other things to do. And videography is not necessarily the highest thing on their list in terms of priorities. You got other fires to put out that could stop the business, that could stop somebody else from doing their job. um,
Right.
Marketing kind of falls into that too. Marketing is very important, but if you got to pick how to get payroll done or how to get this particular task done, marketing is going to take a back seat over and over every single time.
In
So I
most
just,
businesses.
yeah, and I just say that to say I don't take any offense to it. I understand it. I put myself in their shoes because you and I come from that background where we know what it is to clock in and to go enter a bunch of orders or to go put out fires and chase invoices and do all that stuff. And it's like, stopping to answer the email about what a video looked like, that has to wait, and it can wait. So I don't
Right.
approach it necessarily with ego. I know I wish the feedback was way quicker sometimes. Just like, yo, did you love the
Right.
video? Because we loved it. But that's just
Right.
what we do. We love it. So we want to hear like real quick, like, hey, what you think of that product or whatever.
Right.
But internally I get it. And that's gonna be the challenge for any kind of thing with marketing. Even though I always say to pump myself up and Matt, and we talk about the business, I say, I think we're still ahead of the curve. I think specifically video is going to be the dominant form of communication if it isn't already. I think it is, but
It
it's like
is.
more and
Yeah,
more
it
people are going to
is.
wake up and realize, oh, wait a minute, I need this. This isn't something that's cool, or something to drop all kinds of money on just for vanity. This is necessary.
Exactly.
and, and
Exactly.
and the
Hmm.
creators, the creative people. See, I like I think we're close enough to the same age. So we remember CDs, we remember record labels and all that environment of going out, putting a demo to be part of a record label. I say that to
Hmm.
say that back when we were growing up, the power was in the distribution. The power was in the
Right.
people controlling the keys to, like, okay, you can come create if I allow you to do so. In
Right.
2022, that power has completely flipped. Now the
Hmm.
creators have the opportunity to know I can go directly to the consumer. I don't need somebody in the middle like I used to back in 1990, where I had to beg for a film deal
Hmm.
or a record label deal or a book publisher. The creative services has now become just 100% on your will to push through it and do it yourself. Can you get on
Right.
Google and figure out your own publisher? Can you get on Google and figure out how to upload your music to iTunes, your videos?
Right.
We could put videos on Amazon right now. There's ways to put your
Mm-hmm.
movies on Netflix. And,
Right.
and it's just the difference is just the information and the drive. It's like people lack the
Mm-hmm.
information, and it's like first you got to have the drive and then go out there and find the information, because a lot of these things are free, or
Mm-hmm.
they would be less than the cost of what it would be back in the day of record deals and movie licensing deals. You keep 100% of your business and you cut a distributor yourself, whatever out of the profit to get your stuff out there. um and marketing has been the same way. It's great to see you starting your own business and going direct to people, because that used to not be
Mm-hmm.
possible. You used to have to do all these things, and now you have all
Right.
these tools at your fingertips. It's like, I can help you get your website right, I can help you get your Facebook and everything else right. You're able to do that
Mm-hmm.
when we weren't in the past.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Like you're right, because in the past you had to work for an agency, right? Like that was the only way to be in marketing. But you said a couple of things that I thought were important, and sacrifice is something that you said. And when you talk about sacrifice, sometimes you hear people say, like you said, they don't have the time to do this, they don't have time to do that. But if you took your phone and seen how many hours you were scrolling whatever your social media is of choice, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, and you probably start compiling those hours on a weekly basis, you'd have the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you like to binge watch Netflix, or if you have, tons of TV shows that you like, there's time. It's just what you feel like doing with the time is,
Mm-hmm.
I think, really, really important for people to realize. We all, it's cliche to say we all have the same 24 hours in a day, because that's kind of true and kind of not, because your circumstances kind of affect that. Like you said, if you have a family or, whatever the situation is. But I do think that, sacrifice is not made. And I'll segue that into the trucking business. So
Right.
still have the trucking business. This is now year 6.
How many trucks you got now?
And
Because I knew you when you had one, and I think you have more now, right?
guess what? So last year I had 4, and
Hmm.
now actually I just sold one. I just sold my out of the 4 that I still had. I just sold the last one on Sunday.
Okay.
And we
Wait, so you
pivoted
sold off trucks?
I have no more trucks.
Okay.
So the driver shortage got crazy last year during COVID. And the larger companies started offering these like ridiculous bonuses. And let me not say ridiculous, because that's unfair to the person that reaped the benefit of the bonus. But they priced out the small guy. So the
Sure.
bonuses were like 10 grand just to
Hmm.
join the
Right.
company. And that just wasn't feasible for us. So we were losing drivers and losing the ability to attract drivers. So we wind up starting to sell the trucks, and we were like, okay, well, what's the next go? So Jason, my husband, decided that we were going to do pressure washing for trucks, because he said that there was a shortage in the area of truck washes. So like if you needed your truck washed, it might take like 2 weeks for somebody to get to you. So he was like, oh, that's a
Mm.
huge opportunity. Let's do that. So he buys the pressure washer, and he's all set. I think he went and did it like one Saturday, and then was like, don't know if I want to do that.
Mm.
So then we were like, okay, then what's the next step? So what we realized is when we were selling the trucks, we made a pretty decent profit. And throughout it, and it's funny, right? They always say, what would you do something that you would do for free. So
Right.
anytime anybody needed a truck, he has a couple of friends that are truck drivers or in the industry, they would contact him and ask him, hey, go find me a truck, because he would be able to like go like search the country and find these great deals on trucks. Well, he then, I guess, a light bulb clicked and said, oh, well, I've been doing this for free all this time, helping people. How about I actually start, you know, turn this into a business model? So, in conjunction with my in-laws, we started up TFS Truck Sales, which is still Thompson Freight Solutions, which is the parent company, but we have TFS Truck Sales, and now what we do is we just source trucks from all over the country. Because one of the things, for whatever reason, truck prices are pretty high in Hampton Roads. So if you go
Okay.
to like a truck dealership, or you try to buy a truck here, the prices are really high for the inventory that they have. So we now go throughout the country, source some really great deals of some great trucks, bring them back here. Jason has a CDL now, so he can drive the trucks back. We
Okay.
bring them back here, and we flip them. So yeah, we flip trucks now.
Now that's
And
great.
we've made way more money than he quit his job. I mean, like,
That's great. That's
yeah, you
great.
know what I mean? Like, he quit his job, and for me, that was a little, that was a lot for me. I'm the multiple sources of income type of girl, so that was a lot, because I'm like, well, can't you do it at night or on the weekends? Like, why can't you keep your job? But he said in order to do the best, he had to be able to go all in. And like, he just left this morning to go up to like Pennsylvania, and he's bringing something back. He's like, I just have to be able to go all in. I mean, he's gone to like Missouri, Illinois, like he's going like way
Wow.
across country to get these trucks and bring them back. And he was like, I have to quit my job in order to be able to do this. So I was
That's
like,
a good
okay.
that's a good problem, and it's always scary, right? Like to do that and just to be out on your own. But the thing is, so you got a quote unquote regular job too, so it's like benefits wise and stuff like the family's
Right,
taken care of. Yeah,
it balances it, so it wasn't as scary, right?
yeah.
Because
Like
I
you're
have,
both quitting and
and
chasing it.
right, and to be fair, Rocket Ship pays me pretty well, so it was okay. But yeah, I was just like, oh my god, like quit, like no more paycheck. So yeah, I take my hats off to anybody that, like, that's their everyday grind, where what is the saying they go, you eat what you kill. Yeah, like that's your business, where you have to drum up the business, you have to make the money in order to pay your bills and survive, like,
Yeah, in
whew.
Spanish we call that frying and eating at the same time. Like while the meat is cooking on the pan, you just eating right off of it. Like throw more on there. Like I don't
Right,
got time to plate it. Like just we're frying and
right.
eating.
Like, oh, that's funny. I made tostones yesterday, and that's what I was
Did
doing. I
you?
was like, I'm being so greedy. I was like, I'm frying and eating.
Yeah. No, that's a real thing. So do you guys ever think about maybe it's too early, but you guys think about just having some stock somewhere parked out here? And so you're not like are you doing it all based on orders?
Right. Well, that's part of it. So right now, we there's a lot not too far from us, and he lets us rent out some space
Oh,
so
that's
that
cool.
we can park trucks there. But what the goal is to purchase a plot of land, and we've seen a couple of places here in Portsmouth where we can store the trucks to kind of make it like a truck sales place, and then also parking lot for truck drivers. And
Yeah.
then I guess the old see, it's funny when we got into trucking, and this is, the funny thing about being in business with your spouses, sometimes it can get a little dicey. And I say that to say, we get into this argument from time to time where the original goal of going into trucking was to open up a shop.
Okay. Mechanic.
And yeah,
Okay.
here we are 6 years later, and we're no closer to getting that shop than when we started. And I'm telling him, I'm like, okay, we're on the third business model, and we still don't have a shop. And the reason that I want the shop is because through the experiences that we've had as truck owners, I see there's a void of a shop where customer service is the priority, efficiency is the priority. Like, there's just a lot of things that the shops around here are missing. And that's,
Right.
not to say that they're not good at what they do, or they're not good business owners. That brings me back to another point you were saying. So I always say, just because a chef can cook doesn't mean they can run a restaurant, if that
Exactly.
makes sense. So just
Exactly.
because you're an amazing diesel mechanic doesn't mean you can run a shop. Like,
Yep.
business is always going to be business. And I just think that a lot of the truck shops around here, they don't do good business. And I think that with my background in business and managing businesses and customer service and customer retention, I think that I would be able to dominate the diesel repair field in this area. And that's just wholeheartedly my belief. I really do think I would be able to dominate it.
That's how we feel about production. Like we always say, listen, we might not have a big team, we don't have necessarily all the most expensive gear, but what we're gonna do is outwork everybody around us, and what we're gonna do is treat everybody as best as we possibly can. Like that. That's just the thing. Like
Mhm.
I don't know what everybody else's customer service is like, but I'll be willing about that. Ours is high up there. You know, the top
Right.
couple companies that is really treating you the way you need to be treated. We address everything immediately. Like if there's an email,
Right.
that same day we're getting back. You need a price, that same day we're going. You need me tomorrow, we're gonna do everything we can to be there tomorrow.
Mhm.
And it's like the delivery and the turnaround. It's like you need it, boom, we're gonna get it to you in no more than 2 weeks. You're gonna have it.
Right.
Where we
Right.
hear stories about people waiting 2, 3 months. It's like,
Right.
oh,
I was gonna say 4 to 6 weeks is like the kind of
mhm.
standard.
And we get stuff.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter how big the project has been. It's been like 2 weeks max. That's just what we're doing, and we see people really appreciate it. And you
Definitely.
and the thing with the mechanic, like you mentioned, you're right. Like not, it's exactly how I feel about the videography and everything else. It's like just because you're really good at one thing doesn't mean you can run a business. And I think that's I was having a conversation last week with someone saying, you know, what's wrong with just a hobby being a hobby? What's wrong with a job being a job? Because I think there's a certain it's almost like because of social media and public opinion, there's like an allure to say you're an entrepreneur and to say you're going to be a business owner.
Mm.
And it's like
Mhm.
there's almost like this little like class warfare to an extent where it's like, nah, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not a little
Mhm.
worker bee or whatever. And it's like, there's no shame in either one. If you're a worker bee, you're a worker bee. Own that. If you're an entrepreneur, own
Mhm.
that. But a lot of people is like, I'm really
Class war.
great
I
at
don't mean to
this.
cut you off, but class warfare. That's a good way to describe it because that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, no, it feels that way, right? Like it's like if you say you own a business, then there's this feeling like, oh, you think you're better than me. No, I personally have the drive to go do this. And that's what I want to do. I don't fault anybody for doing a 9 to 5. That's great. Matter of fact, that is honestly, I feel like that's the more wise thing to do, especially if you have a family. Go do the 9 to 5. You need a steady income, you need health insurance, you have kids, you need a retirement. These are things you're not gonna have handed to you if you go be a business
Right.
owner.
Right.
But for some reason, there's just like, oh, if you're a business owner, if you're trying to be a business owner, there's this idea where you're better, and it's like you might be a little crazier than the next person. It's nuts
Right.
to put your family at risk. You know, we're fortunate enough to where you're working, then your husband can go take the risk because you're working. If
Right.
that falls
Mhm.
through, at least we're all right, right? We the quality of life might take a little bit of a hit, but we still got a roof over our
Right.
head. We still got food coming
Right.
in, kids are taken care of, health benefits.
Mhm.
Versus some people, they go out there and jump, where it's just like
Mhm.
there is only one income now, and it is the business.
Right.
And that's where people get tested for real. And I think there's timing for everything. The
Exactly.
people need to leverage. Leverage sounds kind of cold, but leverage is the word that comes to mind. They need to leverage the relationship with their spouse. And when you have those opportunities, one of you work so you can have health insurance and all that stuff, and then another one just grind it out. And it takes a
Right.
special relationship. It's funny speaking with you as a wife. Um, I could say that with my wife, there's a huge appreciation in terms of the sacrifice that she has to make in terms of letting me go out there and give the time that it needs to go do these things.
Right.
Because I imagine you as a wife, there's a lot of things going on in the house that would be very helpful if I had my husband here.
Mhm.
And it takes a
Like
maturity and
this
support.
morning, my son didn't get to school on time. I was like, because Jason takes him to school.
Yeah, no, but it's funny. It's little things like that that married people understand, right? Like little things like that over and over and over in time can create a serious wedge and huge stress and like mental breakdowns for real, like
Whew.
trauma, where it's like, yo, we're not understanding each other. And that's what communication is like hyper important. Where it's like you have to explain when you're overwhelmed, you have to explain what you need help with. Because when you have somebody that's 100% dedicated to the career and then somebody else is 100% dedicated to a dream, it's tough because you can't do the whole thing where like, oh, you saw me struggling. It's like, well, I'm struggling in my own way too, mentally too. I feel drained. I might not see things as clearly as I normally would because I'm working 12, 13 hours to chase a dream.
Right. Mhm.
So you can't necessarily look at me through the lens of maybe a 9 to 5 person, where a 9 to 5 person, as soon as they punch the clock at 5, they're
It's
mentally
done.
at home. I don't have to worry about
Mhm.
nothing else.
Mhm.
A business owner, this brain is constantly working and worried about the next move, and it's like I might
Mhm.
miss a small detail that I might otherwise not have. So that's why it's important
Right.
to have strong, supportive spouses that get it. That's not to
Right.
say that these
Right.
issues are not going to happen, and a spouse can't check someone and be like, "Yo, wake up! I need you to focus over
Right.
here for a little bit." That the family
Right.
needs help here. Um, but it's tough. It's tough finding that rhythm. between husband and wife, where it's like, okay, how hard can you pull before it's like it feels like it's not fair? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's why I said it gets a little dicey sometimes. And I'm the supporter of a dream. And and anything I'm saying out loud, I've said to Jason and we're cool with it.
Mhm.
But I've told him, I said, I've Jason has had a lot of visions and dreams. I've been with him for 17 years. So
Mhm.
throughout the 17 years, he's been in a lot of businesses. And yeah, it takes a toll. It takes a
Yeah.
toll, especially when it's not successful. So here we are now, finally, where it feels like where there's a little bit of success, but it took a really, really long time to get here. And there were years where we struggled, like, I mean, to the point where it's like, where are we going to get the money to pay for X, Y, and Z for,
Right.
next month? So that can take a huge, huge, huge toll on the relationship period. But I mean, I believe in them, and I keep, every time I'd be like, all right, well, my mom, I don't know if you remember the honeymooners. My mom calls him Ralph
Yeah.
Cramden. Remember, he used to have all those weird ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, finally, I think this makes sense. And he gave it a little bit of time to test it, and he put the work in, like he got the CDL so that he could drive and just help out with it a little bit more. So yeah, I think we're in a good space with it now. But yeah, I see how it could break a relationship down.
Hmm.
I see it firsthand. But I just feel like money comes to us. So if we do the right thing, we'll figure it out. Like, I was unemployed last year. That was pretty tough. But we scaled back. It was COVID. And I just utilized that time to learn.
Hmm.
I'm constantly learning on a daily basis, but I really, really hunkered down to just like learn. So I was able to get the agency job because I learned a lot during my downtime. You know what I mean? So
Right.
then when I got the agency job, it's like everything turned around. And then right around that, and when I say right around that same time is when I get the call from Johnny, like, oh, we're doing the data center. We'd love to have you a part of the project. So it's like, oh, great, look at this. Like, it all kind of
Awesome.
worked out at the same time. But kind of going back to what you were saying about the class warfare, there's this, what I see a lot, and I guess it's your social media of choice. I like Twitter,
Hmm.
just to kind of get a pulse on what people are talking about. And I see a lot of 9 to 5 shaming on Twitter. And it's almost like, oh, well, like you said, you're the worker bee, or you're this, or you're that, because you work for somebody else, and blah, 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 blah. But again, the goal to me, like I said, is multiple sources of income. So one can be from business, one can be from 9 to 5, one can be from stocks, or all this other new stuff that's going on
Hmm.
in the digital currency. But to think that, someone that decides to collect a paycheck from somebody else, there's something wrong with them, means you as a business owner, to me, you have absolutely no good common sense, because don't you want to employ people? Wouldn't you want someone to feel good about working for your business?
That's the
So
point.
why would you then shame people for wanting to work somewhere? Like, make it make sense is how I feel about that one.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people are solopreneurs. An entrepreneur creates opportunities for other people. A solopreneur creates an opportunity for themselves.
Right.
So if you have no intention on hiring a team of people, you are not an entrepreneur. You are a solopreneur. You work for yourself. You're creating a business for yourself. And then the second part of that is, when we did have the drivers, the stress that came from being responsible for someone else's life, because that's
Right.
what it felt like,
Right.
it took a toll. I personally, I don't think I would ever do that again. It was really, really hard, because those were days that we would take money out of our own pocket, because there was no profit, to give to the drivers, because I I just felt a sense of like I owed it to them to make sure that I can give them some money, because the model we had was 50-50, right? So whatever the truck pulls in, we would split it 50-50, and we took care of all the maintenance, tolls, taxes, everything. You just drive. But I just felt obligated almost to just make sure that, they were able to pay their bills and take care of their family. And I would never want that pressure again. That's just not it didn't sit well on my spirit. I don't want to be responsible for someone being able to pay their bills or not. And I feel like in the beginning stages of any business, there's a point where even if you hire people, if your business folds, that person is without a job. And
That's
now they have to try and make it, I guess, like,
that's kind of like, and I don't know if we're naive, Matt and I, in terms of how Tsunami operates. We haven't brought anybody on yet because, first of all, we want to bring people on when we feel like we can treat them the way we would want to be treated, financially specifically. If we wouldn't do a job for $10 an hour, we're not going to tell somebody, hey, come over here and do it
right,
for $10 an hour. We want to do it for respectable wage. And it's like, budget wise, we're making do. Business is growing. Very, very fortunate to be where it's at. But it's like, to bring somebody on full time, we're not there yet, right?
mhm,
But what's cool about the creative stuff is like there are people out there that do it on a gig base. There's some people that
right,
are cool with, hey, if you ever need me for a shoot, I'll go do it for $200 and I'll be there for you. That's
right,
kind of like where we're at now, where it's like, we can offer opportunities here and there, but the communication is going to be clear, because we would appreciate it if it was clear for us. It's like, this is not a permanent thing. It's just every now and then, be on a list. I'll hit you up and call you. But I get it when you got,
right.
truck drivers where that opportunity is not necessarily the same way. And it's like, I need something kind of stable. I need to know that I'm driving this week, next week, and the following week to pull something in. Why
Mhm,
why do
mhm.
you said you wouldn't necessarily want to deal with that headache? And I guess the business would have to scale to a point where you'd be more comfortable to take that risk. But I'm thinking like, so I've had a conversation before about how long should you push a business.
Mhm.
And it feels like you don't have any give up in you, in terms of like, you've done a business, that one didn't work, you did another one, you did another one. Like, why are you still pushing through it? Why haven't you just, I'm making enough money with my 9 to 5, why am I going to deal with the headache? Like, why still deal with the headache?
Oh man, I don't know. I guess it's weird to say it out loud because I see the naysayers say it's the wrong thing to do, but I like money. I chase money. I want to explore the world, and you need money to do that. So I have a Pinterest board, and it's called We Work to Travel, and it's all these like what I would consider like exotic places in the world that I would like to go to. And yeah, you need money to do that. And that's why I push. I want to be comfortable. I want to be able to, like, I'm thinking about putting Bryson in private school next year. I want to be able to do that without thinking too much about it. Our oldest daughter is in college. She's college age now. She's going to community college right now, but she just got accepted into Norfolk State. She wants to go next year. She doesn't get the proper financial aid. I want to be able to make sure that we can pay for it. So it boils down to just having the financial freedom to do the things that I want to do.
Right.
So it's not, for me, I'm not going to say it's all passion in some aspects. I would like to make money. Um,
I get it.
you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where, like, there's a quote from Jay-Z, and he was talking about when people make music and they put it out to the world, and he said if you didn't want to sell it, you would just record it in your basement and you listen back to it. But when you put it out there to the world, you want people to receive it and purchase it.
Right.
So I mean, that means you want the money, right? So it's not that you're not doing it just for the craft, but you'd like the financial benefits from it too.
It makes sense, and it's actually coincidentally a very academic response, because I don't know if they told you this in school. In school, they told us, and you could actually Google this. If you Google the definition of business, what is a business? What is the purpose of business? The literal definition is to maximize profits. Is the definition of what is the purpose of a business. You can Google, anyone can Google that. What is the purpose of a business? It's going to say to maximize profits. So it makes sense. Um, and I get it 100%. And me personally, I'm driven like a little bit of a different direction. Those opportunities are important. Um, for me, it's like I've never stopped pushing because I'm excited about the moment that you said is a headache. See, maybe I got to experience the headache myself. That's because I'm excited about the opportunity to tell somebody, come do what you love with me. Like
Mhm.
come stand that let's do what we love together. I'm excited about the opportunity to open the door. And let's say fantasy world, everything works out and this is $1 billion business. To be able to
Right.
have somebody like on a every 2 weeks cut them a check to where they're providing for their family and they've got health insurance, that to me is like the ultimate success. Because I've
Yeah,
been
it
providing
is.
for myself since I was 17 years old. I've been making money and been able to pay for things here and there. Um, and I say it all the time. I can make a living working almost anywhere. I was making a living working at a Chick-fil-A. I was paying the mortgage, had health insurance, and doing fine. Um, but I'm really passionate and wired in a way that I want to see other people succeed, and I want to be part of that process. I want to help mentor and do that stuff. So that's why I keep doing business. I don't have a time limit. I don't have a, this business has to be something huge by 2025 or something. It's like I'm gonna keep pushing as long as it takes. I enjoy it. I like the process. It's not that hard, technically. There's a lot
Mhm.
of time to give up, but when you look at what you're actually doing with that time, it's not difficult. I tell people all the time, it's like what you said is perfect. Do what you would do for free anyway. I tell people that specifically, that exactly like that all the time. If you're going to start a business, do what you're doing for free. And in 2022, you can start a business behind everything. These kids are showing you that if
Right.
you all you want to do is play video games, you can do a business behind playing video games. This is possible.
Right.
Um,
Right.
do what you're going to do for free.
Right.
And I tell people with a quick couple Googles, I learned how to make an LLC. I learned how to pay taxes. I found accountants. I did everything necessary to have a business. And when you treat it that way that you would do it for free anyway, then the sales don't really matter, especially in the beginning. Like you shouldn't get too
Mhm.
hung up on the sales. So what if you only made
Mhm.
$50 this month? If you're gonna turn your nose up at $50, you're not gonna get it to the 50,000. You're not gonna get there.
Right. Right.
It's the
Right.
whole you have to eat crap before you eat caviar type of thing. You have to.
Yep.
Um,
It's true.
deal with it. Deal with the $20 client. Deal with the headache client that you worked really hard to go get $50. You deal with that until you scale
Right.
and you get a good reputation.
Right.
Because
Mhm.
that's how
Yeah,
it's
you
worked
have to
with
start at the
us.
bottom.
Yeah, that's how
Mhm.
it's worked with us. I don't know how it's gonna work with everybody else, but with us, it's been cringing through some moments and putting on a brave smile and doing the best work we can. And to the point that the portfolio got big enough to where other people started noticing with bigger budgets
Mhm.
and bigger expectations. And they're like, I'm willing to give you
Mhm.
this now. Um,
Right.
but that's the importance too of integrity. And I found like be as humble as you can, be a person of integrity, and it all works out in the end. It really does.
Right.
And that's just what I found. I haven't been in a situation where um I put it this way, even in the worst moments where things were really, really tight, where it's like, man, how are we gonna pay the mortgage? Um,
Mhm.
stay in the course, worked out in the end. Um,
Yeah.
I got experience with a lot of friends that necessarily maybe took shortcuts and it always bit them in the butt
Mhm.
pretty bad. And they learn from it and they
Right.
move on. But I haven't seen anybody stay at the top doing things dishonorably or questionably. I haven't seen it.
Right.
You might be up for a summer, a year or two,
Mhm.
but the stuff
Right.
catches up. Your reputation starts to catch up. Um, but
Right.
I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to see you still doing it. It's crazy to me that you always find a way to pivot. I hate that word now because everything's been pivot since COVID. The digital pivot, this pivot, that. That's the buzzword. Entrepreneurship and pivoting is the buzzword for COVID.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
you've been making it work. It's dope. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I appreciate you like crazy. I'm proud of you. I'm proud to be able to watch you grow, and it's dope that we get to touch base from time to time because you always got something
Right.
exciting going on. I feel like I don't have much more going on to say. It's more the same, but you always got something new going on.
Yeah, because I'm always, and it's funny because I don't notice it until I say it out loud, and then other people
Mhm.
are like, "Huh?" Like I still serve on all those boards,
Oh yeah,
right?
that's
So
cool.
like, yeah, because I'm always passionate about helping out the kids, so I still do all of that kind of stuff,
Have you heard
and
of or joined yet Black Brand? Have you heard of them? The Black Chamber of
I
Commerce
I've
Manhattan
been
Roads.
yeah, I've been watching them to kind of see what they're doing. I think I'm on their Facebook group and looking to see what they're doing. Are
We
you
do
a
their
part of
videos.
them?
Yeah, we
Oh,
joined
you do
recently,
the
but
videos.
yeah, we've been doing their videos now for like 2, 3 years.
Oh,
And
nice.
then we joined. officially members, but they do great work with the community, and they got like business accelerator programs for free that
Yeah, I see that it's they won that grant, right? Where they're gonna now
Mhm.
be, I think they like, what is it, like $700,000 or something that they're gonna be able to
Yes,
provide people.
750,000 they got for the program, and they're gonna distribute it, however the programs need to. But they're always doing something. We're
Yeah,
members of the Hampton Roads Chamber and now Black Brand as well. And it's funny, back in the day, I don't know if I had the conversation with you or with someone else, but I used to be real jaded about it. Like, what the heck is the point of paying, a couple $100 a year to go
that
sit
was
there and
me.
yeah, I'm like to go harumph is what I call it. Like, you're gonna sit there and like, oh, so how was your day? How the kids? The golf was crazy last week. I'm like, I ain't paying for that.
Right.
But what's funny, since we joined, it's been the basics of business, just networking, just going
Oh,
in,
definitely.
go share a freaking coffee. It ain't the end of the world. Everybody's gonna
Right.
ask, what do you do for a living? And one out of those 2,000 people is gonna say, oh, you do videos? I need one next week.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
it's
That's the
it's
purpose
paid
of it.
it's paid for itself. That's all I can ask
What,
for.
right. Right. That, and that's one of the things, I was the division chair for Portsmouth last year for the Hampton Roads Chamber. And that's one of the things that that Ted Counts, he always
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
is like the ROI, once you get a client or a business opportunity, it pays for itself. But now that you say that, maybe I will look a little bit more into Black Brand and see about joining, because yeah, I have been kind of keeping up with what they've been doing.
Mhm.
And that just made me think when you were saying pivoting. Um, Someone reached out to me super random last week, and they brought an opportunity to me to potentially go down to Atlanta and speak about entrepreneurship at a college. And I was
Mm.
like, wow, that's not something that I ever thought about, but that's cool and it pays. But it's funny because what did we just say? I would have did it for free. But
Yeah,
when she added that at the end, I was like, oh wow, and it pays. I was just excited about the opportunity to do it.
yeah,
But look at that. There's actually, money attached to it. But even if, there was no money attached to it, I would have did it. I would have taken the expense for my flight and everything. And I would have done it because A, it's a good opportunity to, build my brand, and
mhm,
B, I'm giving back, right? Because if
yeah.
that's the purpose of my brand, is to give back, then maybe I should make this a 501c3. Maybe I should really think about changing that. Now that I'm saying that out loud, like maybe that's the angle to go to. But one thing really quickly, while you were saying about the videos, I did want to touch upon you saying that you were ahead of the curve. I agree with that. 80% of what we consume now via advertising or anything is video. So super important. And as far as I don't know if you've been looking for like government contracts and stuff like that, but check that out and see if there some things you can put in some RFPs or something for
Yeah,
to get some work, because the government will pay you quadruple whatever rate that you normally pay to do the same work. And
yeah,
you can even do it in driving distance, or where a cheap flight is. So look into that. You see how my brain is always working, like I'm
yeah.
it's a brain
Nah.
dump because I'm like, let me make sure I get it out. But it's like, wow, that would be a great opportunity for you all to be able to, and you've already worked with a city, municipality. So
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
look
we're
into
trying
those.
we're trying to get more into local government stuff because I don't know. You have to know. We started the business on some government training on like Navy stuff. We were doing training videos for them.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and
Hmm. Hmm.
and that was a whole different world. That's a whole different world pricing wise. That's a whole different world expectation wise. Stress is nuts. You go from telling somebody like a local business, okay, I'll go do your video for $1,000 or whatever. Here's what you're gonna get, to submitting like 30 pages of what you're gonna do. It's just a wild. It's a whole different game. People got
Yeah,
lawyers
that.
involved, and people with rank and stuff, and then but there's opportunities out there. And for
Mhm.
sure, it's like I'm happy to be in the position we're in, because if people don't believe in video right now, they're gonna be forced to. Um, and the
You
only
have
thing
to.
is, provide a level of service that I say it not to be disrespectful, but it's my slang way of saying it. The provide a service that a worker bee can't. I'm not trying to
Mhm.
diminish or demean somebody that does the 9 to 5, but there's a certain level of enthusiasm that a nine to
Right.
five
How much you
person.
care.
Yeah, it's like you're going in and okay, even if you did hire a videographer for 60 grand a year and you gave them benefits, even if you did that, you might not necessarily get the same enthusiasm that we could bring. We got fresh
Right.
perspective. We're coming in with a certain
Mhm.
energy. We're gonna push it as fast as we can. Sometimes at worker B, you're gonna ask them where that stuff is at a month later, and where's it at? Where's it at? What's going on?
Right.
And they might not necessarily be interested in pushing the bar, and making the
Right.
product better every single time. Where we're very driven, it's like, nah, the next video has to be better. Has to be way better than the
Right.
last one.
Right.
So nah, but it's great, man. I appreciate you. I ain't gonna hold you too much. It's always great talking to you, man. What's I gonna say? In terms, so the one thing closing out, and this is actually could be offline or whatever, but so your involvement with that whole fiber ring thing, like what are you doing there?
That's so funny too, because I was just about to say to you, it's they were saying that they needed some video. I was like, well, y'all know I know somebody that can do the video, and I
Well,
forgot
they
who's
know
in
who
charge.
does their, who else does their. Come on, man. That's what
Well,
we're gonna have to talk about that
no, no, no,
separate
no, no,
because
no, because I was gonna say it's a different. So I don't work for Simis. I work for
okay,
Simis Holdings, which is the company that was spun off with some other owners, including Johnny, for the
okay,
data
okay,
center. So there's
okay,
a couple of other different people that are involved who were not aware of anything that Simis had done in the past, as
okay,
far as like video and stuff like that.
okay.
So I don't know. Yeah, they were saying something about having somebody, but again, my eyes just, if I'm in charge of marketing, then you guys have to let me choose my people. And
Yeah,
I'm super
you
serious
got
about that.
somebody. You got somebody
Right.
already.
So I just was like, well, what do they have yet? How much stuff? Because if not, then I'm just gonna call you. Like, no, because I want to showcase the beginning of the construction all the way through to the reveal. What? You have a
No,
drone?
we've no. These are conversations we've had. We've had these
Yeah.
conversations. Yeah. No,
Yeah. I want.
we need to. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk.
Okay. Yeah.
These
I'm
things
like,
have
come
already been
on.
discussed. They've already been kind of,
Well, the
when. That's
project is slightly delayed. The
okay.
project is slightly delayed. So they haven't started yet. I literally just got the website up this week.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
No,
it's been a little
we're
bit
excited.
delayed.
We're excited to be a part of it. I sighed because it's been a long discussion about it, and we want to do it. It's a sigh of,
Hmm.
yo, let's go. We're ready.
Right,
Because
right.
it's exciting stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on in Portsmouth that we could talk on and on about, but it's
Hmm.
stuff we want to get in Portsmouth as
They're
far
gonna
as
have two
construction.
locations, Portsmouth and Virginia Beach.
But did that, yeah, because that pipe comes from over here, and then they have to, yeah.
Hmm.
No, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be
Right,
great for the. It's gonna
right,
be great for everybody around here, whether they realize it or not. It should improve our internet quality.
right. Definitely, definitely. But yeah, like you said, being ahead of the curve of the video puts you in a great position. You do the great work, and even I would take something just as simple for some of your marketing efforts. The head of Instagram said that Instagram is a video sharing platform. So
Hmm.
your little static post and all that stuff that you've been doing that you thought was cool, not so cool anymore. You better be
Yeah.
posting them daggone reels, and even, and let me not, I'm a geek, so I can keep talking. But even when I have customers that do like LinkedIn marketing. They want those to be videos too on LinkedIn. And you're thinking LinkedIn, you just go on in, shoot the crap with people that you might have worked with before. No, they want video up there too.
Yeah,
So
no,
everywhere.
you have to reverse engineer the consumer. That's something I got from Gary Vee. You got to reverse engineer the consumer. And you know what? Go based off of your frame of reference. When you are on Facebook, when you are on Instagram, think about it. What makes you stop more times than not? It's a video. So you're not
Hmm.
always stopping at every little picture. When something's moving that's interesting, you stop. You need to
Hmm.
take that knowledge to marketing and treat it that way. And you need a little bit of everything. That's why what you said is perfect full circle, because you do need a website, you need pictures, you need video. You can't,
Hmm.
and these platforms are free. That's what I never understood when people get like, I've heard people before say, why do I need to be on Facebook, where my business people are not going to XYZ, they're not going to Facebook to buy my product. And it's like, yeah, but people that buy your product are on Facebook. That's just
Right.
simple marketing. Like, it's like, why would you
And
put why would Steele put a banner inside Harbor Park? I'm not going to Harbor Park to go buy a chainsaw. I'm going to go watch some baseball. But it's like, no, but people that buy chainsaws are watching baseball. It's just,
right. And it's
it's
brand, everything isn't just about the sale. Some things are brand awareness and brand recognition. And,
mhm.
it's just a whole ecosystem in marketing that people just skip over. But
It's the subliminal
yeah.
message, like psychology. Like, if I
Hmm.
keep hearing the name over and
Hmm.
over and over again, when I go to buy a chainsaw, I've seen steel everywhere. Let me just grab
Right.
steel. They must be the highest
Right.
quality because they're everywhere. I'm gonna
Right.
just grab it.
We know where our local McDonald's is, but you're gonna see that McDonald's commercial every single time you turn on your TV, or you know where your
Mm-hmm.
local Walmart is, or whatever the case is. There's a science and psychology about that. That's a
Yeah.
geek moment that I have, that I would actually go back to school one more time,
Mm,
if I could find a doctorate's program in consumer psychology.
that'd be dope.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that. That's what I spend my time on when I'm on social media. That's kind of just what I'm looking at, like how people react to products, how people react to certain things. What are they saying about X, Y, and Z? Like, I'm just very interested in consumer behavior and consumer psychology.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now that's cool. Well,
Yeah.
shoot, I appreciate you. I'm gonna have to get you back on here again because this is a great conversation. We're gonna have to have
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
go down the
I was about
rabbit
to
hole
say.
further and a whole bunch of other things
I was
too.
about to say, I could talk, 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 talk. One last thing, because I meant to tell you this too. I seen you did a video for a realtor. Don't know who it was. Video was amazing. That could also be like, you can dominate that field, because all these realtors need to understand they have to have video. They
We
have to have. No one is buying any house or looking at anything without that cool footage stuff. So that's a lane that you could take over, like the go-to person out here to do those open house videos.
They're not. We're chasing it. We told people your Instagram. If you're a realtor, your Instagram needs to be dedicated to nothing but video walkthroughs. What just shocked you?
I'm sorry. I'm looking out my window, and like a big dog just ran across my yard, but it's not my dog.
Well, go lock the door. You be careful.
What in the hell? Whose dog is? So someone's missing their dog. Oh my God.
Don't go say hi to strange dogs.
I know, right? Because why? What just made me just because I have he's a big puppy, but Lord knows if I would have just went outside and we got attacked. Oh my God! Like this, this is why I believe things happen the way they're supposed to happen. Because if I wasn't on this call with you, there's a probability I would have been walking outside with my dog.
Just walked right out.
Okay.
Well, all right,
Well,
lady. I'll talk to you next time. You take it easy. I appreciate you.
I was about to say, yeah, I love to talk. So whenever you need me to fill in the whatever, you can let me know.